The purpose of this session is to go through features added in formula entry in version 4 of Vicinity. One of the first things you'll notice in opening any of the version 4 screens is the new ribbon bar. The ribbon bar is a way for developers to put key activities that you perform right on the screen rather than having a hotkey or having you go to a drop-down menu or something like that. So it becomes very obvious some of the things that you can perform on any given screen. You're going to see that through Vicinity 4. In this case, on formula entry, we've got the ability to create a new or start a new formula, a save, the search capability, a copy, which I'll talk about in a minute, etc. So you can see these are the features that or functions that Vicinity can perform right in front of you. Also know that you can also use these icons at the top, which are basically the same things we just talked about, just smaller icons that you can configure yourself. And what I mean by that is I'll pick up the drop down, and these are called quick access buttons. And this is your ability to customize or put up or take down any of these icons. And so as I select or deselect those icons disappear. Also know that from this drop down you can also minimize the ribbon bar. So to attain more space on your screen, you can actually hide that ribbon bar and bring it back up again. The other thing that becomes pretty obvious within Vicinity 4 format, is our movement away from tabs into collapsible sections. The tabs, while efficient from a real estate perspective, one of the pieces of feedback we received from clients was that it was difficult to see data that I wanted to see at the same time. I had to click between tabs. So we've accomplished that by collapsible sections. So I can have multiple sections open simultaneously if I want to. And being able to see data from each of those tabs. Whatever tabs I have open when I close the screen, the next time I open that screen, those same sections will be visible or expanded. So this is something that saves on a user-by-user basis, and so use it kind of as a customization capability within the screen. Another area that we're really excited about in Vicinity 4 is our lookup capability. I'm going to bring up a standard formula that I've got, and I'll go right to the formula, and let's take a look at one of the ingredients down in the ingredients section of the formula. What I can do is tell the system that I want to find all items that have got, say, acid in the description or flour in the description or hops. All I need to do is type part of that description. It doesn't have to start on the left. It can be anywhere in the description, and when I tab off of it, the system will go find any occurrence of that word in the component ID or the description. So what I'm able to do now is narrow my search down without it actually technically going to the search screen. You're going to find this to be the case throughout the system, no matter what screen we're on or no matter what field you're on. If there's a lookup associated with it, we're going to be going and using this kind of embedded search capability. Also in version 4, we've changed the way we handle creating a new formula. In version 2, you would bring up an existing formula, change the formula ID, and then save. It was kind of a save as metaphor. That caused some challenges for us in a lot of different areas, and so we've decided to take a little different approach, but we think it'll be just as easy. So let's say that I'm going to create a new formula called training formula. All I did is typed in the new formula ID and tabbed off of the field. As soon as I did that, Vicinity knows that I'm creating a new formula. It doesn't exist in the formula database at this point, and therefore the copy button is now active. I can click on the copy button, and now the system is asking me, what is the source of this formula? In other words, what do I want this one to look like? So I can pick up DCVM Red, which is my standard demo formula I use quite often. It's showing me a version, etc. It's telling me whether it's active or primary, and we're talking about this version of this formula. All I need to do is press the copy button, and it will bring in all the information from DCVM Red, which was my source formula that I was dealing with, in which case I can open up formulas and I see there are all of my unit procedures and my operations, and within the operations I get down into my ingredients. So normal stuff that you were expecting within version 2. So in effect, it's the same functionality, just handled a little bit differently, and it will allow us to do a number of other things with the system. An area that existed in version 2 is formula search, but I did want to highlight it in version 4 because I think it has a lot of capability for existing clients that are using multiple versions, or for that matter manage a lot of formulas. First off, the search ID allows us to save a search, allowing us to search our database of formulas and be able to do that over and over and over. But what I really want to kind of get to is some of the search capability. So in this case, on the description field, I want to go find any formula that has got red in its description somewhere. In this case, I do need to use my wildcard, so I'm saying that the asterisk means anything before red and then anything after red. So in effect, if it's got red in the description, it will show up as a result. I'm just going to hit the refresh button, and what this is doing is bringing up all formulas that I've got out there with red in its description. Now at this point, I've got the system showing me the last formula version, not necessarily the primary, but the last one, the highest numbered version that I have. Now what's kind of nice about this is I can use this checkbox that says show me all versions, not just the latest version, and now I'm able to see all of my version history that I've got within a formula. That's why I think this would be beneficial even for those companies that manage a relatively small number of formulas, but they look at multiple versions or use multiple versions within their system. Now what I can also do is restrict to the primary version. So now that I've checked all, this restrict to primary has become available. So if I click on the restrict to primary and hit refresh, what the system is now doing is showing me the primary version. Prior, it was just showing me the highest numbered version. So using those two fields in connection with each other will really help you get a feel for what versions you have in the system. One last thing I wanted to point out is this gives us also the ability to select multiple versions and print them at the same time on a report. We can control which report you're using up here in the Crystal report name. If I click print, it will default, without giving a Crystal name, it will default to my master formula report that I've got set up. In this case, I could go through that whole list of formulas that we just selected. Now one thing I want you to know about this is because you can have multiple Crystal reports, this may now be a comparison type report where it's on one page showing all the ingredients as rows and the columns may be the percentage or the quantity, etc. So a real quick, easy way for us to compare multiple versions. It also gives, the search capability gives us the ability to do customer kind of tracking. So for example, you could set up an attribute that has the customer ID. So now we can see all the customers' formulas specific to their requirements. So formula search, I think, has really developed a good bit over the last few years, and it's more than just searching on existing formulas to create a new formula. It may be there to help you get an idea of what your formulas are in your system. Another change that we've made in version 4 is we've actually made given quality its own section. So let me bring up my standard demo formula. Prior in version 2, quality was actually part of the procedure tab, basically the formula tab. We've actually moved it out into its own section, its own collapsible section. We found that to be a lot easier for people to see all the QC tests that have been defined against a formula. And in this case, I've got multiple operations with QC associated with it. And that's what I'm displaying here, is in this section, this operation, I've got those QC tests, and in this operation, I've got those QC tests. We think this will really help those that are defining the quality, help them be able to see what's going on a lot easier. Finally, I wanted to talk about a new field or new selection that we've added in the status, and that's requires approval. At Focus last year, which is our annual user conference, it was brought to our attention that people wanted to be able to enter a formula but have it go through an approval process, and until it finishes that approval process, we won't want to be able to use it in a formula, in a batch ticket, etc. So we added the status of requires approval, and certain workflow can be triggered on that, and or different business operations can be attributed to that. There actually is a demo on workflow that I would suggest you go take a look at. In this version, in version 4, we've added the ability to have workflow as part of the system. So for example, you could be creating a new formula, and a workflow or a series of steps that need to be performed could be triggered by the creation of a new formula. Many companies, when they create a new formula, need to have multiple departments look over that formula before it can go into production. Workflow can help enforce that by sending emails to the appropriate people. Embedded in that email, the user can click on a link on that email and actually open up the formula entry screen and even recall that formula. And while they're making their changes in the formula, they can tell the system that it has now completed. They've completed their step, and their piece of the workflow is now completed. All that is available to you in version 4. Feel free to go look at the video. There is a small piece of software that needs to be acquired on the server. We're happy to talk with you about that, but we really think that workflow can really transform your company, especially those companies that have multiple people involved in creating a new formula, creating of a component, maybe even for that matter creating and updating a batch ticket. So we offer that up to you to go take a look at. So this is version 4's formula entry, kind of the new pieces to it. Feel free to investigate that. As you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us directly. Either give us a call or send a message to support@vicinitymanufacturing.com, and also put on your calendar to attend Focus in May. It is a wonderful user conference, gets you an opportunity to talk to other users and actually help frame the discussion for new development. Thanks a lot and have a great day.